Mr. Carter. The chair looks forward to yielding to Mr. Graves from Louisiana for 5 minutes.
Thank you, thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to thank my friend from Louisiana for bringing up some local issues, and I want to pick up where he left off. Administrator, we had a chance to cover some ground in Louisiana in the past and talk through a number of issues, and in this case, I want to talk about where Mr. Carter left off, and that's risk rating 2.0. You're part of the federal government that is comprised of our hundreds of millions of citizens. We, I think, thrive on transparency and accountability. The fact that FEMA has continued to hide behind this proprietary model on the methodology for determining rates for risk rating 2.0, and Mr. Carter and I are incapable of explaining to the people that we represent why their rates have gone from $560 a year under preferred risk to $8,000 or $9,000 a year. It's not okay that we can't explain it. It's not okay that FEMA tries to hide behind this proprietary model. And I just want to ask you, would you make transparent the methodology and allow us to explain to our constituents why their rates are skyrocketing, explain to our constituents how levy protection and other features are actually benefiting them, that in many cases, property taxes, sales taxes, and appropriations, Congressman Carter and I and others have been able to secure, are actually making them safer.
Congressman, risk rating 2.0, I believe one of the most important factors about risk rating 2.0 is that it bases our flood insurance rates on a home's unique risk. And while we have seen a significant amount of policies across the nation that have had decreases, we also know that now that we understand a home's unique risk, many of the policies, many of which are in Louisiana, their rates have gone up. We have provided several
That's not answering the question on transparency. The question is transparency. I can't explain to a constituent why their rates have doubled, tripled, quadrupled, or what have you. I can't explain to a constituent how the levy that is right behind their house actually provides them a level of protection if FEMA's refusing to be transparent. You're part of the federal government. This lack of transparency, it's not okay. And the fact that you have some places where rates are skyrocketing means people are, according to your maps, outside the flood zone. Like it doesn't make sense. And something, if we're just going to talk common sense for just a minute, homes are static structures in many cases. A concrete slab at grade, I understand we've come in and elevated them under ICC and other programs, but in reality, if people complied with the rules at the time they built their home, in some cases these homes have been here for hundreds of years, and all of a sudden we're going to come in and change conditions on them, and we're going to refuse to provide any degree of transparency. I'd like a commitment from you that you're going to be transparent and provide the methodology to the American public, let people look at it, understand it, and perhaps perfect it.
Congressman Graves, we continue to provide briefings to your staff and others on how we have
I'll
developed
take
this
that as a
program,
no. And as we're talking about lack of transparency, I want to talk about something else. There was a meeting that was held at the White House on May 11th of this year with the National Security Council, FEMA, and others talking about NSC stepping in and taking over effectively coordination of disasters or emergencies. That's what Congress charged you to do. Can you shed any light on what this is that the White House is coming in and taking this over? Can you share documents with the committee and help us understand this better, since we're the ones who actually write the laws?
Thank you for that question. Recovery is and will remain one of the core functions that FEMA does, and we are always looking for ways that we can improve on how we deliver not just our programs, but help coordinate the federal family for long-term recovery. Maui is a great example of how we have set up a long-term recovery operation in the county with the state, using the leadership of our state and local leadership to help drive the requirements. There's always room to improve, and one of the things that we are working as a result of Hawaii with the NSC on is bringing together our cabinet secretaries to help ensure that they have visibility of all of the things that their programs and their agencies are doing on the ground. That is the commitment that I have to continue to support communities like Maui with these long-term recovery operations, making sure that FEMA sustains their role of being that that agency that has the ability to coordinate across all federal agencies.
So Administrator, look, you got a tough job. You do, and I appreciate your willingness to do it. Every time you step in, it's because there's a disaster. That's not an enviable position. But I want to be clear that the Congress has charged you with that responsibility. And if there is some proposed change there, this committee deserves transparency to make sure that we believe it's consistent with the law and congressional intent. And I just want to ask your commitment to provide us transparency on this as well. Is that a commitment that you're willing to provide?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Last thing, and I know I'll be quick here. Duplication of benefits drives me crazy because I watch our federal government be incredibly inefficient. We have resiliency programs or mitigation programs in FEMA and Corps of Engineers and HUD, in Interior, at Department of Agriculture, in NOAA, and many, many others. We explicitly wrote a change in the law in DARA in 18 that said that duplication of benefits with Corps of Engineer programs and HMGP does not exist, meaning you can pay for it through HMGP. Yet I've watched where FEMA has refused and said that you could not provide HMGP funds to a Corps project that was in the 7001 report, that I'll make note, does not mean it's funded. Yet you've had the situations where Washington, D.C. has gotten funds for, quote, tree equity. I don't know what the hell that is. Gotten money for tree equity. Meanwhile, Portland has gotten funds through similar programs. So why is it that if Forest Service is going to fund urban tree planting, how come FEMA will fund it as well through BRIC? Why isn't that a duplication of benefits?
I don't have the specifics of
Could you
why we
please
did or not,
give
but
us an
be
answer
happy
on
to
that?
follow
Would you-
up with your
Thank you.
staff
I
on
appreciate it.
that.
I'm sorry for going over. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Graves.